This is the Impulse by Somnium guitars, and it might be the most customizable guitar on the planet. You can quickly change the pickups, the ergonomics, and even the gain on the pickups, and we're of course going to cover all of that today. But the first thing you should know is that above all else, this is an extremely well-crafted instrument with attention to all of the small details that players will enjoy. In fact, it has so many amazing features that we're bringing back my patented feature tracker to help organize today's episode of Guitar Innovations. I usually like to start from the headstock, discuss the neck, and work my way down to the body. And there are a ton of amazing features with the neck as well. But this body is so revolutionary and so breakthrough, we have to start here today. For those of you new to Guitar Innovations, I'm a big fan of ergonomic designs, especially when they allow us to achieve the ideal neck angle of 45 degrees-ish. And I've shown many guitars and tools that help with that goal. The issue many of you have noted is that some of these guitars and tools are, in your words, ugly or nerdy. Well, that's where this guitar's hidden ergonomic details come into play. My favorite traditional guitar body is the Jazzmaster or just the offset style body. I find that these bodies balance such that the neck lifts ever so slightly up, more so than if you're playing a Strat or an SG, for example. If I just hold this Strat and I leave it on my lap, you'll notice that it basically stays parallel to the ground. It's perfectly straight, which is again the thing that I want to avoid. I want the neck to be pointed up. And if I try to put weight on my right arm to point the neck up, the guitar starts to slide and it wants to fall off my body. This is a very precarious spot and I'm being very careful not to drop it when I'm doing this, right? So that's the issue with, in my opinion, with most guitars. But if you like playing in the classical position, the offset body obviously can't fit in between your legs too comfortably because of the extra wood in the back of the guitar. And even a Strat in the classical position isn't ideal for every style because of how far forward to the left the neck gets shifted. More on this on my ergonomics lesson over at oneguitarcourse.com. When the Impulse is in the normal position over the right leg, it feels a lot like an offset body. The neck lifts ever so slightly, but it still balances perfectly. It doesn't want to slide off whatsoever. But it also has a carve behind the bridge, which means you can fit it in between your legs far more comfortably than a standard guitar. There's also a really nice forearm contour and a nice belly cut that makes this one of the most comfortable guitar bodies I've ever tried. But there's one more thing. Nested inside of the body is a retractable leg rest that allows you to further customize the ergonomics of this guitar. And as you can see, it's easily adjustable with just your fingers. When the leg rest is fully extended, the guitar is in the exact same position as a Klein guitar. And even better than the Klein guitar, you get a wide range of adjustability, and this can of course lock anywhere along the spectrum, or you can fully retract it and play it like a quote-unquote normal guitar. The Somnium leg rest is made from aluminum, it's incredibly rugged and sturdy, and if you're performing in a black or gray outfit, your audience won't even be able to see it, so you don't have to worry about looking nerdy. In fact, I'm pretty sure it just looks like I'm holding a normal guitar. When Mark and I talked on the Guitar Craft and Other Stuff podcast, link below, I told him that the retractable leg rest feature should just become a staple of all solid body guitars. It could do so much to improve our comfort and long-term health as guitar players. Now, classical guitarists don't have the luxury of drilling into their instruments to have something like this installed, but most classic electric guitar designs are solid body instruments, and they would all benefit from this feature. And of course, this body looks amazing. It has an absolutely gorgeous purple sparkle paint job with some black in the middle. On the back, it's just a purple sparkle. And when you combine that with the dark neck and the gold hardware, I just think this looks absolutely stunning. So now let's work a little bit backwards and discuss the neck and all of its great features. And then we'll work our way back to the pickups because we have to, of course, discuss this interchangeable system. Starting from the headstock, we have hipshot open back tuners with the hipshot style buttons. And I've come to realize that these are my favorite style of buttons because of how easy they are to grip and turn. Small details matter when you're buying a high-end guitar. Another small but appreciated detail is the complete lack of a truss rod cover, which means 1, 2, 3 less steps when you go to adjust your instrument. And completing the headstock is a synthetic tusk nut, which we'll come back to later, and a 0 fret to make achieving the perfect action even easier. Speaking of action, this guitar came with perfect action, and it's one of the most comfortable and beautiful necks I've played in recent memory. Roasted maple with a satin back, with a slightly chunky C profile and nicely rolled edges. If you're someone who likes the more standard C or even thin C profile, I think this neck in particular might be the one that starts you on your chunky journey because of how comfortable it is to play. Finally, we have 22 medium jumbo stainless steel frets, 12-inch radius, and your choice of 24.75 or 25.5 inch scale length, and this one has the 25.5 inch scale. And I should also mention that most of these neck specs are customizable when you get in contact with Somnium Guitars to order your instrument. Now, earlier I mentioned that we would return to the nut because I wanted to briefly discuss the relationship between the frets and the nut on this guitar. Over the last couple of years, there's been a trend of making fret ends as round as possible for added comfort. And this is nice, but I found in some cases, having the fret ends super round leads to greater instances of the high E string falling off the fretboard. This is especially true if you're experimenting with lighter gauges of strings. I say all of this because this fret job is one of the best I've felt in a very long time. When I run my hand up and down the neck, I can feel the fret ends, but there's nothing sharp or uncomfortable. And they also chose a very specific string spacing that gives just a little bit more space on the opposite end of the high E string. Now keep in mind, these are not details that I saw on a spec sheet. They're not listed there at all. I just noticed them while I was playing the guitar, and then Mark confirmed my suspicions. I really appreciate that type of attention to detail. So now we're on to electronics, and this guitar features a modular pickup system. That means you can totally change out your pickups without soldering, removing strings, or anything else like that. One thing I really like about this particular system is that it has a very nice mechanism that snaps into place. And once it locks in, everything is extremely sturdy. These cartridges come in standard pickup configurations, and you can choose between half or full-size cartridges. And as you might expect, there are cool things about each cartridge as well. You can actually change the pickups within each cartridge without soldering them, which is really cool. So you can buy a bunch of these blank cartridges if you'd like, and put your pickups in here without soldering and build up your own little collection of interchangeable pickups. And these cartridges come in both full and half sizes. So for example, you can get a full size like this one, and it could be an HSH configuration or an HH configuration. And then you can have another full-size one like this, and maybe it's 3 single coils. You can go from a Les Paul sound to a Strat sound in literally seconds. I'm actually pretty simple when it comes to pickups. My favorite set is the JB Jazz by Seymour Duncan, and I spend most of my time in the neck pickup using a jazz-style pickup like this one. One thing that I always wanted to know is how would a jazz-style neck pickup sound in the bridge? Well, we can do that very quickly. And just like that, I can experiment with a bridge pickup in the neck or a neck pickup in the bridge. And the half cartridges are also interchangeable. Usually when we see a slanted single coil pickup, we assume it has to go in the bridge position. But of course, with this type of system, we can experiment very quickly with using this in the neck position. So as you can see, having this interchangeable system, number one, it's fast, it's sturdy, it's reliable, but we also have a wide range of tones we can now explore. But there's still more. This guitar also has a built-in 9-volt battery, and it automatically recognizes if you put in an active or a passive pickup. So for example, I have this passive pickup in the neck. I can grab an active pickup like this EMG and I can put it right in the bridge. As soon as I lock it into place, the guitar automatically knows that it needs the 9-volt battery and it starts powering that pickup. So yes, this works with all of your active pickups like EMGs and Fishman Fluence pickups. And in fact, there's already push-pull knobs installed, so you can get all of your different voicings for your Fishman Fluence pickups. Oh yeah, and since we have so many different pickup options, this switch right here isn't a normal 3-way, it actually has 6 different positions. So between the 6 positions on your switch here, and your push-pulls and your different ways of reversing pickups, you have an endless amount of tones with this type of instrument. Now, this guitar came with a plethora of different pickups. I showed you the single coils, the EMGs, my favorite Seymour Duncan Jazz. We also have a Bill Lawrence pickup in the middle position here, but this silver bridge pickup is, as you guessed, also special. This is the R66, and it's also made by Somnium. It's an active hexaphonic pickup with a built-in variable gain amplifier. Under the pickup cover, there's 12 individual coils, which means each string has its own pair of coils. So each string is picked up separately before being combined to run through the standard output we have here. This helps with overall clarity on a clean setting, but since there's a built-in variable gain amplifier attached to this knob right here, we can add in drive even on a clean amp. Completing our tour of this instrument is a Caller Vibrato, which feels and looks amazing on this guitar. Since the center of the Somnium guitar is completely routed for the pickup switching system, there isn't space for the springs used on other vibratos. You'll also notice that in this case, we don't have the usual Caller locking nut. In my use, I found that this functions as well as any other high quality 2-point trem with a locking tuner setup. This guitar has set a new record for features, but I'm happy to say that these features don't make the guitar feel overly heavy or weird, and there's absolutely no gimmicks here. Each unique aspect of this guitar enhances the experience for the player, but even if you're like me and you just want to live with a jazzy neck pickup with the neck at the perfect angle and you don't want to change anything else, you'll still be sure to enjoy the overall quality and craftsmanship provided by Somnium guitars.